Okay, we're going to take a look at some special solutions when dealing with our multi-step equations. So as you learned in the last balance scale activity, not every equation has a specific solution. Okay, it's not every time that you're actually going to find an x or that there's only one x or one value for the variable. Now we're going to look at two special cases. So the first special case, equation 1. So here's what you're going to do. Write down the equation. 4x plus 7 equals 4x plus 7. So we have a variable on both sides situation. And we're going to work through an activity with this equation. So look at my bullet points here. The first thing that we're going to look at is we're going to say that x equals 10. So I'm giving you the solution. I'm telling you x equals 10. What I want you to do is I want you to substitute and simplify. So that means instead of the x, I'm going to write a 10. So substitute a 10 for the x. Now once you substitute, you have to follow the order of operations. You're going to simplify the left-hand side and simplify the right-hand side and see what happens. So hit pause and do that. Okay, so let's take a look and see if you worked through this correctly. So instead of 4 times x, I'm going to say 4 times 10 plus 7 equals 4 times 10 plus 7. And then I'm going to simplify the left and simplify the right. Multiply first. So I get 40 plus 7 equals 47. Then on the right-hand side, multiply first. I get 40 plus 7 equals 47. So if you were checking your answer to this equation and you got 10 as your answer and you substituted to check, you would tell yourself, perfect, left equals right, I'm good. And that's true. Make sure if you have any errors, you fix them now. We're going to come back to this equation again. We're not done with this equation. What if I wanted you to try picking a different number for x? Okay. And see what happens. All right. So what I want you to do is you'll copy the equation down again. Okay. And then I want you to pick your own number for x. It can be anything. Now remember, you're going to have to substitute and simplify, so don't get crazy. But pick a number that's not 10. Substitute it into your equation. See what happens. So hit pause. And then pick a value for x, substitute, and see what happens. Okay, hopefully, no matter what number you picked, did your left side still equal your right side? I hope they did. Let's say you picked the number 2 for x. You got 4 times 2 plus 7. That gets you 8 plus 7, which is 15. On the right-hand side, you get 8 plus 7, which is 15. So no matter what number you pick for x, the left side equals the right side. It's kind of interesting. Now I want to do a little side note for a second. You do not have to copy this down. But some of you may be watching this thinking, well, yeah, when I check an answer, the left side equals the right side. And yes, that's true. And I don't want anyone to get confused, because a second ago I said x equaled 10, and then you picked a different x, and then I picked a 2, and no matter what number we picked when we plugged in, it always was equal, right? Don't write this down, just watch. If I had the equation 2x plus 3 equals 3x plus 1, and I said pick any number for x, and you said, okay, 5. I'll pick a 5. Let's see what happens. And you substitute. Remember, you're not writing this down. We substitute, and then we simplify each side. I get 10 plus 3 is 13. 15 plus 1 is 16. And those do not equal each other. And that means this is not a solution, right? So if we come back to this equation, we said x equaled 2, right? Here's our substitute. When x equaled 2, it all worked out, and so we could say x equals 2 is a solution, right? Back here, when you picked your own x, the left side equaled the right side, so that x you picked was a solution. So this is one of these special cases where no matter what x you pick, it's going to be a solution. And that's going to happen sometimes. So again, that's going to happen sometimes, right? Let's look at another equation. This is our special case equation 2. Copy this equation down. 2 parenthesis x plus 3 parenthesis, or 2 times the quantity x plus 3 equals 2x plus 6. So copy this equation down. And then I'm going to tell you that x equals -4. Together, we're going to substitute and simplify and see what happens. Okay, so you should have this copied down. And we're saying x equals -4. So every time I see an x, I'm going to substitute a -4. I'm going to simplify the left-hand side. In my parentheses, I get -1. You could have distributed the 2. That's more work than you have to do, though. So I get -2 on the left-hand side. On the right, I'm going to multiply first. -8 plus 6 is -2. My left side equals my right side, so that means x equals -4 is a solution. So x equals -4 is a solution. Now I want you to write that equation one more time, because now it's your turn to pick a different solution. So now you're going to pick your own number for x. It can be anything. Pick your own number for x, substitute, and let's see what happens. Okay, no matter what number you picked, you should have had the left side equal the right side, which means, yes, it's a solution, right? So let's, just to double check yourself, I'm going to pick a number, 6. So if I were to substitute a 6 for my x, and as long as you're completing the order of operations correctly, please be careful that you're doing this. 18 equals 18, so 6 would be a solution. If you pick 10, the left side would equal the right side, and 10 would be a solution. Every person in the room could have picked a different number for x, and their left side would have equaled the right side. Again, this is a special case where x can be anything. Okay, so again, this is a special case where x can be anything. Now, here's a look at. What would happen if we just tried to solve the equation? Okay, because what's going to happen is if you'll get an equation, and you're not going to know if I solve it, is x just going to equal a number, or now is this new scenario here? How do I know if it's this new x can be anything, or if x can just be one single number? Okay, and there is a way to find out. You don't have to read anybody's mind. Okay, we're going to go back to our original equation. So we're going back to our original equation. We're actually going to solve this thing. Okay. So we're solving it like variables on both sides. So you can pick any number that you want to eliminate first. Okay. You know, I like to go for the variables, but I also pick the variable with the smaller coefficient. And take a look for a second. My coefficients are the same. So one is not smaller than the other, which is interesting. And it's something that I want you to keep in the back of your head, because that's going to be important. So we're going to pretend that I look at this and go, oh, I don't have a smaller one. What do I do? Okay, just pick something. Just pick anything to get rid of first. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this guy first. Let me just subtract it from both sides. I get 7 equals 7. And if you notice, my variables cancel and my x disappears. My x is completely eliminated. And I end up with a number equaling the same number. Right? It's kind of crazy. Now, what if I didn't want to eliminate a variable first? Okay, what if you like to eliminate your constants first? It's okay. Let's say I want to eliminate this guy first. -7 or -7 on both sides. This is where you're going to have to trust the math that you're doing. Because on the left-hand side, I get 4x. This cancels. Equals 4x. And this cancels. Now, in this case, my constant is completely eliminated. And the number on the left equals what's on the right. Right? Left side equals right side. That's kind of interesting that happened, because this would be the point, if you were working on this, you would wonder if you did something wrong. Let's look at the last equation for a second. What if we were to just solve this one? Okay, we'll have to simplify this side first. I get 2x plus 6 equals 2x plus 6. Eliminate whatever you want first. I'll go with the first thing I see here. Doing my math, that cancels. I get 6 equals. This cancels. So I get 6 equals 6. My variable completely disappeared, and I had my left side equal my right side. Very interesting. That's all for this section. We'll come back to this in just a little bit.